A lot of Wealth Drives members are ambitious, small to medium-sized enterprise owners, entrepreneurs. What's some advice you can give to them for those who are starting out?
Just have a goal, have a strategy, work through it. Work through the negatives in a business, work through all your potholes, work through things that you're not good at and how you're going to overcome those obstacles. And yeah, just go for it. Look, I'm not smart in a sense where there's nothing different from me to what
you must be doing something right, Dorry.
Well, I'm applying myself. That's I would say I'm applying myself, but I'm not doing anything different to what anyone else could do. If you apply yourself and you think about it and you really just keep things simple, you can do it. You succeed. So, first step is just go for it.
Tell us about your experience in Europe, Saint-Tropez, seeing P. Diddy. You got into the rich and famous party without having a ticket. How did you do that?
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny looking back at it at the time. I spent a lot of time in Europe, and lucky enough for me, I spent 6 months in Europe, and I didn't spend a lot of money because I had friends in all places. My cousin lived in Paris at the time, and he said to me, he goes, "Look, I want you to come down with me to Saint-Tropez. I've got a villa for a month." I'm like, "Where's Saint-Tropez?" I didn't know. I knew the French Riviera, but I didn't know much about Saint-Tropez. And I said to him, "Look, yeah, I'll come down. Why not? I've got nothing to do." And it was just unbelievable. Like the boats that I saw there, and the wealth and everything. I said, you know what? I think that gave me more hunger to sort of want that. And I went to a club called the VIP Lounge, and they were promoting Bad Boy Party tomorrow night. And thinking Bad Boy Party, yeah, just another night out. And I didn't realise it was like Puff Daddy Bad Boy Party. And I went down the next night on my little scooter down to the club, and it was red carpet, paparazzi, the French stars walking through, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I'm like, what do I do? Do I walk down the red carpet and make a fool of myself, or do I just sort of walk away? And it took me like half an hour. Then I saw a big SV pull up, and Puff Daddy walked up with his entourage. I'm like, holy, okay, well it made sense. It's his party, so it took me like half an hour to gain the courage. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to rock up there. And people were queuing up and waiting to get in. I thought, if I get rejected, well, then so be it. No one's going to know who I am. And rocked up, bouncer looked at me, I looked at him. He just parted the crowd, shook me hand and wall guys come through, and I'm like, I don't know if you thought I was somebody or not, but I took it, and it was a great night. It was unbelievable. It was definitely an eye opener. I went to this beach party the day after as well, but definitely a great eye opener.
Who'd you meet?
A lot of French stars, which I didn't know who they were, but I knew who Puff Daddy was at the time. So it was like being in a video clip with all these girls, and it was very glamorous. It was pretty funny.
When you were walking the streets of London, planning this business,
yep,
what was going through your mind?
Not failing. Very simple. For me, the fear of failing and the fear of eating humble pie and putting my tail between my legs and walking back to the family business. So I really just...
Was that just not an option?
No, for me there was no room for failing. There's no way I could fail. There wasn't even in the equation. I just had to succeed at this, and that's why I spent a lot of time just putting myself in the mindset, the right frame of mind, more than anything else.
So you visualised those potholes.
Yep.
You thought about every worst case snenario.
Yep.
It's correct.
Yep. And that's when people do interview me and they ask me questions, what were tough times? I go, well, I haven't had one because I've visualised those problems, and when I've got to that problem, I've subconsciously overcome that problem, and it's a lot easier to overcome a problem that you've already visualised than not visualising it, because then you're not ready for it. So I've been ready for a lot of obstacles in my life, and I've been ready from a personal aspect and a professional aspect. Because with success, a lot of personal issues come with it. A lot of people change, and you got to be more cautious around you. But it's all part of It's not just a one-way street. It's life balancing as well, and understanding that.
Now, I've talked to you before, man. You said you'll be ready for wealth,
yep.
And also noted in your book, you actually said you have fewer friends now, but a lot more acquaintances.
Yep.
Why is that?
I guess it just comes with the territory. If you're born into wealth and you have wealthy friends around you, you're gonna, I guess you're accommodated and you're around money and stuff. So it's a lot easier to sort of. You probably have the jealousy and the bickering with, my dad's got this, my dad's got that, or you try to outdo each other. But when you sort of grow through a middle class family and you're sort of, I guess, going places that your friends aren't going, you're going to get that resentment, that jealousy, and I guess you you start testing who your true friends are, and that's, you know, it's sad, but it comes with the territory, and it's part of the, you know, it's part of it, and that's what you've got to, you know, you've got to be ready for that as well.
Let's talk about some people who helped you along the way when you're starting out. I mean, you mentioned Alyssa Grant, who is now Alyssa Oddie. You know, how helpful was she?
Yeah, no, look, it's important to have good people around you. At the start, she was, you know, we were friends from within the industry. She was working, you know, at Corporate Express, which is a big multinational. It was pretty hard for her at the start, more than me, because I knew what I wanted to achieve and where I wanted to go. I had to really change her mindset, going from a corporate business with, you know, a couple hundred staff and then coming into a backyard operation and getting her to start again and making her realise this is what I want to do, and her head, no, but this is how we do it so, you know, down at Corporate Express, or, you know, this is how I go, I don't care how you've done it, this is how I want to do it. At the start it was a lot of arguments, but now she's a big advocate, and she's like, you know, my right-hand person, and she'll sell the business the way I would sell it, and that's important. If you have people that understand your model and get it, and they can replicate what you do, then you're on the right page.
Tell us about the email you received that supposedly was a virus, and how it actually changed and revolutionised how you imported your goods.
Yeah, look, it was quite funny actually, because for me, I've always been fascinated with China. Even when I was 23, working in my family's business, and I was like, you know what, if you get China right, and if you look at my business plan in my book, you'll see China, Sydney lines, and, you know, mapping out how do I work China. And I thought, if you get China right, you can import directly from China, you're going to make more profit margins, higher returns, and, you know, you can dictate what price you want to sell for, because you've got a lot more room to play with. So one of my suppliers sent me an email, and within a minute he gave me a call back, and he was just freaking out and really frantic. He goes, delete the email, it's a virus, and he was really freaked out. I'm like, well, no one acts that way if you know, on a virus. So, and I'm like, yeah, no worries, I'll delete it for you. And I said, yeah, look, yeah, I've deleted it. He goes, I'm saying on the phone, make sure you delete it while I'm on the phone. I go, yep, I've deleted it now. And, you know, curiosity killed the cat. I didn't delete it, and I opened up the file, and it was his suppliers' details from China with all their cost pricings. And I looked at it like, Jesus, they're making good margins. If I put his margin and I resell it and put my margin, I'm doubling my profitability. I'm like, Jesus. So that really opened up my eyes for China, and that's where I pretty much started.
So you met Jimmy, right?
Jimmy, I met, my partner over there. I met him when I started my business years after that email came through. So that was more of an opening that I like, wow, there's an opportunity, and I realised if you get China right, you can make a lot of money, and that's where the world is going now. So this is going back in the mid-90s when I found out about this opportunity. So when I started my company 9 years ago now, I went to Shanghai, and I met Jimmy through a mutual person that I was going to meet. He was 24, raw, never been in the industry. He was new to the industry. I said, mate, we built up a friendship. I said, look, you know, leave and start your own business over there. You can become my agent and become my supplier. And I had no orders coming out of China. I still knew he had no clients. So I give him credit. He did that, and he left and started up his own little office over there, and he was my support wing there and liaised with the factories and managed the factories for me. And 9 years later, he's still with me.
And he's still there on the ground.
Yeah, we've got 9 to 10 staff in China. We've got a 1,400 square metre warehouse office in China as well, that we bring everything into our warehouse and we QC it all and check it all. But he's made a lot of money over the years. It was a lot of time that I spent with him over the email and just teaching him my values, my philosophies, what I look for in terms of products, and really got him to understand the Australian market. So it was a lot of work at the start, but at the end, very fruitful.
Now you put a lot of energy into the DKM and DKM Blue brand.
Yep.
How important is it to put energy into your brand?
Well, I think your brand is probably the most, it's the most important asset in your business. Look at McDonald's, look at Nike. If I went back to 20 or 30 years ago when Nike first started out, it might have been longer than that, and I said to you the word Nike, what would you have said? Or if you had looked at that swoosh.
Don't do it.
and you saw that swoosh or the golden arches, they were all brands that weren't even known when they first came out. Coco Chanel, you know, Ralph Lauren, that were all unknown brands. But over years of brand building, like now they're household names globally. And you're paying, you know, $2,000 for a Louis Vuitton bag because you're paying for that name, and what comes with that brand is luxury and feel good. So, you know, so for me, you know, we're in the marketing and merchandise industry. So one of my mottos is, if we couldn't look after our own brand, how do you expect us to look after yours? And that's a statement that I put out there to our clients. So if we're in the branding game, we can't manage our own software. How are we going to manage your brand? So very important.
You talk in the book about building relationships and creating your best allies.
Yep.
What do you mean?
You know, in my business, my best allies are my suppliers. If I don't get the suppliers on side, then I'm not getting the best deal to sell to my clients. So it's important to not burn bridges in business. And for me, if I can get my suppliers on side, you know, even just by paying them on time and building that relationship with your suppliers, they're gonna either make you go up or go down. If you can't get your supply chain in place, well then how are you going to sell? So yeah, and that was one thing I focused at the start. If I got my supply chain right, which are my allies, well then I'm going to succeed. So the more I succeed, the more my clients buy, the more I'm buying off my suppliers, the more they're happy because they're getting an income, and it's like a big supply chain. So yeah, it's important.
You talk in the book about making your business look big, but without lying about it.
Yeah.
How did you do that with DKM Blue?
Look, you know, DKM Blue, obviously we're at the stage that we are, but when I first started DKM back then, it was more about simple just getting professional business cards done up, getting a professional website set up. Just visually, when people either shop on your website or you know, get your card, it looks you know, like $1 million. And the good thing about now, where we're going with online, you can be in the back of Burke, you know, working in a tin shed with horses and cattle around you, selling luxury goods, but your shop looks like $1 million. People don't know where you're established now or where you're set up. And that's a great thing about online, because you don't need to spend $1 million on a shop front to sell your products now. You can just run it online, and people are very visual. If it looks right and they feel comfortable the way it looks, they're going to trust it. Funny enough, and that's, you know, it's yeah, it's a funny thing.
What benchmarks did you set with DKM initially?
For me, it was trying to redefine the industry, and that's something that I really focused on. I saw there was a gap in the industry with the way it was being perceived in the marketplace. A lot of it was very agency driven. You had a lot of your above the line agencies that were really perceived as the marquee, and then, you know, the merchandise was like, oh, we need a last minute